Hello friends, so in this class we will see the basics of routing and switching. So it's not going to be a CCNA class, it will be very basic. In this class we will see about routers, switches, difference between the routers and switches, and we will see about why we are having subnetting and the classes of IP address. This will be a short video about the very basic things which we need to understand before getting into our classes. So let's start quickly. The routers, Cisco routers are represented by this round box with 4 arrows pointing inside and outside. This is necessary, and for Juniper it differs, and ASA firewall that also differs. For Cisco switches we have to represent with 4 arrows outside facing. So what are routers basically, and why we have routers as well as switches in a network? Routers are basically used to route the packets. Let me bold this thing. And switches is used for switch the frames. So packets nothing but a layer 3 information, a layer 3 packet. So when we want to route a packet from one subnet to another subnet, we use routers. Let's see an example here. I have a router here, and let me take my pen quickly. Okay, from this network to this network, and here I will have a different network information. Here for example I have 192 dot some IP addresses. Here I have 172 dot some IP addresses. It's a class B IP address. We will see why it is called class B in today's class itself. It's class C IP address. So here simply we can say, when I want to route a packet from one network to another network, I need a router. Without the router it is not possible. Okay, now about the switches. Here we call it as frame. We don't call it as packet because it's not a layer 3 information. Here we have a layer 2 information. Let me write it down quickly. So here we have layer 2 frames. So the switch is used when we want to route a packet within a network. Within network nothing but this is my one connection, this is my another connection, and this connection goes to a router. For example, here I have an IP address of 192.168.0.1. Here also I have the same IP address because I have a router here. We don't give IP address to the interfaces of switches normally. So from this 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.1.2/24 IP address, which is nothing but the same network. So when I want to route a frame, when I want to switch a frame from one interface to another interface, I may or may not use a switch. So here I use switch only to switch the packet. That's what this arrow mean. Just the frame comes inside, it goes outside based on the MAC addresses. It's very simple. So in this interface, what will be the MAC address learned? This router's physical interface MAC address will be learned in this interface. Same, in this interface we will have the MAC address of this particular interface here. So using switch we cannot forward a frame from 192.168.0.1 to 172.172.31.0.2. We cannot do that. Because it's a switching environment. Here that's only possible in routing environment. Let me write it quickly. So using a switch, I'm using a router, I can route a packet from one network to another network. Using a frame, I cannot switch a packet from one network to another network. So let's see the difference. So we saw the difference actually. So difference is also covered. So when I want to route a packet between different subnets, I can do that using a router, but the same I cannot do with a switch. Let's see some more differences. In router, we call the information as packet, but in switch, we call the information as frames. Router is a layer 3 device, whereas the switch is a layer 2 device. These are the basic differences, and before saying this, I will prefer to see this. I'm sorry for this mistake. So what are the classes of IP address? So IANA, nothing but the god of assigning IP addresses to different enterprise or different ISPs, the head. What they decided, they separated the classes or the range of IP address into 5 classes, where we have 3 usable sections and 2 not usable sections. So we have class A, class B, class C, and class D and class C. I'm sorry. So class D and class C, we're not going to see much. We're not going to use it, but in the case of routing protocols, we use the multicast IP address 224.0.0.2. We heard that 5 and 6.9, 224.0.0.9 we use it. You use .5, we use .6. We normally don't use, the protocol uses it. So we basically use class A, class B, and class C, and these are the ranges of IP address. So in this session, I will easily explain you how we can determine this. And there is a star here. I will also explain you why we have star here. So class A starts from 1 until 126. Let me brief it. So class A starts from 1.0.0.0 to 126.255.255.255. So we didn't consider here the 127 IP address. 127 is nothing but our loopback IP address. So we don't normally consider this in class A. So how I determine this? So here you can see the first octet, I have to keep the last bit of the last octet as 0. So normally in an IPv4 environment, we will have 4 octets, nothing but 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Let me copy this down. Okay, that's all we have.